Now we need to put the timing pulley on. This is the washer we have to put on first. You need to put the concave side, so I'm not sure if you can really see that, but that's how it goes on there first. And then you see here there's the keyway, and then there's the timing mark. So we have it on here. You notice that we look the other side, there's no keyway evident, so you can't go on that way, it has to go on this way. So the keyway, and then to the anti-clockwise or left of it, it's the timing mark, and it just goes on like this. One point you'll notice is the mark here should line up with the arrow there, and that means the engine's all TDC. We then need to install the Cambelt tensioner. This is the Koyo Cambelt tensioner I have here. Is the part number you can read on the front. So we have the spring. This is the small side of the spring and the larger side of the spring. The small side's just going in here, and then we have the bolt here to hold the tensioner in. Then you see there's a large hole there. You've got to place that on here. Place the spring there, so that's the setup. Then you get your bolt. So you don't need to do it up tight yet, because you're going to need to put the Cambelt on and adjust it afterwards. Here we have the Gates racing belt. So the part number is T2CG. We need to place it in the cam gears and get everything set up right. Again, you can see that I've got the crank set to pretty much TDC. I can make sure that's happened by winding it on a little more, in fact. So it's 19 mil. Just move that round there, so I've got the line that lines up to this mark on the oil pump. Then I have the cam gears in here. We can make sure that they're locked in. I've actually got a cam tool by ASP Performance Parts, and I'll show you the use of that. But the first thing we need to do is put this cam belt in. So we'll just feed that in here. And so that's just roughly in place. There's up and up on the cam gears, and one thing you'll notice is there's indents here. These indents need to be lined up to each other in order for the cam gears to be in the right place. We have this tool here by ASP that should just slide in. There we go, and that means that the cam gears are both in the correct place, both for the exhaust and the inlet, and there's a little viewing window there. The nice thing about this is then I can take away my adjusters and just leave it there, and as long as this doesn't move, I can just make sure that my crank also doesn't move from its top dead center position. So if you don't, it's possible to do the timing without this tool. However, if you don't have this tool, then the cam gears can move either side, and you find you might be one cam belt tooth away from where you need to be, and it will mess up your timing. You have to redo things. So it's just a really nice tool, just to be able to speed up your installation of your cam belt. Then I need to make sure this bolt here is slack enough for the cam belt tensioner. Then if you push it down, you see the spring will expand. Tighten that up, not really tight, just enough. Then you can start positioning the cam belt, so make sure there's no slack between the two cam gears. Then pull the cam gear belt down, cam belt down, and then just place it over there, like so. then I can just feed it round the tensioner itself, and then back over the water pump. And then you just need to make sure everything's flush, so everything will just need to be on all the gears appropriately. So you don't have any space between them and the outside. That's good. That's all on the cam gears, on your crank timing sprocket, on the tensioner and on the water pump. Then you can just simply grab your 14mm, just checking everything's as it should be, because you can still see that the timing mark is going to that line. You can see that the cam gears are still in location. Then I can just simply undo this, and that starts to put tension on the belt. And then what you want to do is actually apply more tension. What I'll do is I'll spin this over a bit to get some of the tension out, and then I'll apply some tension. So then we can just put some tension on the tensioner. I like to use some kind of lever or end of a hammer here, and then you just do up the 14mm bolt here at the same time. And that should be good. Then we can just take out the tool and spin the whole engine over. I should just be able to put the cam gear back in. The locking tool, so that means they're both in the same spot. The line there is lining up perfectly with the arrow, so your crank's in position, cam's in position, everything's all good, and there's a good amount of tension. One thing that's good to check is you can't get more than quarter of a turn. You can't get more than a quarter turn on the longest line of the belt, which you can't, so that means we're good to go. For one of the earlier steps, I took the cam gears on and did them back up, but I didn't actually torque them. Now I'm going to torque them to 58 Newton meters, and I can just come in here. And that's it, they're both torqued. Loosened up the cam belt, now I need to put the engine mount on. This has 3 14mm bolts. There's a short one, and then there's 2 longer ones. So start off with the short one in here. So
that's on the bottom.
And then going with the 2 longer bolts. Lower cam cover, I've put the seal round here, around the perimeter. I have one more here that needs to go on. That's just a simple matter of it's split in the centre there, and just push it on. It's got a longer side on the left and a shorter side on the right. And what you see, it has these little nodules in there, and they can just go over, they just hook over when you're in. Like that. So just push that in so it's in all the way. So you can see the nodules there, there and there, and then the same on the other surface. You can see it's there, there and there. And just place this here. Okay, check it's good there. Yep, it is. And then you get your 4 10mm shouldered bolts there. Place these in. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then just tighten them up. So now I need to install the timing pulley. So here we have the washer. So you'll notice the first washer that was behind this gear was the outer bits were stretching into the main bit of the engine. This is the other way round, so the outer bits are coming towards the camera here. So this is the concave bit is facing towards the camera. So that's how it looks. Just place it in there. And then we have this little keyway lock in here. So I'm just going to slide that in. That's in. Then we have the pulley itself. It's just a standard OEM pulley. Slide that into place. Then we have the standard bolt with the washer. Then we need to use a torque wrench, which is set to 177 Newton meters on a 19mm single hex socket, and then something called the hockey stick. So if you come out a little bit, you'll see the full extent of this tool. So this is the hockey stick. This has a large hexagonal socket to go into this like so. So that just fits in there, and it has the hole in the centre to get the 19mm down the middle of it, as so. Then we can just simply torque up. Okay. And that's torqued up just like that to 177 Newton meters.
With Honda engine mounts for the B18 engine and other B series engines, there's different left brackets that you can use. This is the standard one for the B18C4, and as you can see, it's the 3-bolt style affair. It's got 2 sticking up and another one that you screw down from the top. Now that would be fine if it's going back into an MB6 or something like this, but if you want to put this into the Civic EF, you need this part here. There is actually a Honda part that you could try and find as well, but that's actually long since discontinued, and Honda don't have it even themselves in stock. So the Hasport part you need is this one here, and it's called EFLB, and that's from Hasport, and it just mounts here, and then you can put the other chassis side bracket on there at the same time, so that just goes on top of here. But you see there's a subtle difference in its location of mountings compared to this, but it mounts in the same way in there. The bracket you can't use is for a Civic, a later generation Civic, so don't even try and use the one from the EK, because it means these 2 holes are the wrong way round. Well, not the wrong way around, they're in the wrong location, so it won't fit. It will put the engine mount at a funky angle. So this is what you need, EFLB by Hasport. But the rest of this video, in terms of mounting the cover and the engine mount, I'll just use the standard B18C4 bracket for the MB6. So this is the Hasport left side engine mount. I've already put the left side bracket on there, and what you notice in this side, it has a threaded hole, and this side it's a non-threaded hole that you shoot straight through. So all you do is you put it in there like this, put the non-threaded straight the way through, which is a longer bolt, and the shorter bolt, make sure you have washers on both, and the shorter bolt just goes in here, and just thread that up like so. Just thread it tight, and then we've got the washer to go on the underside of this side bolt, and then we've got the nylock washer. And then these are 19mm, and then just do them up. Up the Cambelt. Now we need to put the engine mount on. This has 3 14mm bolts. There's a short one
and then there's two longer ones. To start off with the short one in here, so
that's on the bottom.
And then going with the two longer bolts. Lower cam cover, I've put the seal around here, around the perimeter. I have one more here that needs to go on. That's just a simple matter of it's split in the centre there, and just push it on. It's got a longer side on the left and a shorter side on the right. And what you see, it has these little nodules in there, and they can just go over, they just hook over when you're in. Like that. So just push that in so it's in all the way. So you can see the nodules there, there and there, and then the same on the other surface. You can see it's there, there and there. And just place this here. Okay, check it's good there. Yep, it is. And then you get your 4 10mm shouldered bolts there. Place these in. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then just tighten them up. Now we've got the engine at TDC and we're on cylinder 1. What we're going to do is use a set of tools in order to adjust the clearances on the tappets. So it's quite simple. We have a deep socket held by some grips. We have a flathead screwdriver and we have a feeler gauge. Now Honda is calling for, on the intake, 0.15 to 0.19, and on the exhaust 0.17 to 0.21. So I'm on the exhaust side now, and I'm going to use my 0.2 millimeter feeler gauge. First I'm going to take some of the tension off that bolt. Then I'm going to come in here, got my flathead screwdriver and my 10mm deep socket and my grips. Put this down in here. You can see I'm moving it and the jam nut's going too because it's loose. So what I want to do is stop that from turning. And then I get my feeler gauge, 0.20, coming around the back here. I can't quite get it in yet because that's how tight it is, and I can just get it in. And what you want to do is make it so it's just a light drag on there. So at the moment that's a bit loose. That's a bit too loose, so I can just tighten it up. Okay, and that's just getting a bit tighter. There's a light drag on there. Then I keep my screwdriver still, and I do up the jam nut by keeping the screwdriver still and turn that clockwise. That's tight. Remove the whole show off there, and then again just check I've still got a light drag on there, which I do. Then what I do when I've done both of these, because for cylinder 1 you have 2 tappets. You have this tappet here, and I've done that previously, and you have the second tappet here because it's a 16 valve engine. Now we're still on cylinder 1 and we're over to the inlet side, and I'm going to again just loosen that jam nut. There we go. May as well do both at the same time. That's loose. Then I grab my tools. So again, I'm just slipping this down over there, slipping that socket over that, and then it's going to be somewhere between those. So round the back here, you see I can just slide, can't quite get my 1.5 in, so that means I'm going to want to loosen it a bit. It's somewhere between 1.5 and 0.19. So at no point I should be able to get my 20 in, which is fair enough, but I should be able to get my 0.15 in. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just tighten up the screwdriver. I should feel a loose drag. When I'm happy that that's in there like that, I can again keep my screwdriver steady and just do that up. That's tight. Then I go over to exactly the same process on the next one. So screwdriver down, my socket over the lock nut, move this over to the next point, which is just down here. Then I need to untie, just loosen it a little bit. So there, it's easy to drag it in and out now. Then I just tighten up the screwdriver, and as I go I'm still moving the feeler gauge to the point where I have a light drag. I'm happy with that there. Keep the screwdriver steady, tighten that up. That's tight both sides, and then you can just simply go back in. Should be a loose drag in there, a loose drag in there, and then that's correct. And just to double check that it hasn't gone too far, because remember my upper tolerance is 0.19, I shouldn't be able to get in my 20, which I can't, or my 20 that side, which I can't. So that means it's correctly done. Then what I can do is I can rotate the engine over. So here you see this is for cylinder 1. I've got my up mark here, 180 degrees round, always anti-clockwise. So I'm going rotating round, rotating round, rotating round. You see here now this is kind of opposed here to my C line. And then I go straight in to looking at number 3. So I do exactly the same process again. Get this on here, loosen it off, and do the same process with the feeler gauge. Then once I've done that for the inlet and exhaust side, what I'll do is I'll come in again and then rotate that back round until my TDC line comes up again, and then I'll do the same for 4, so on the inlet and the exhaust side. And then my final step is the TDC line's up there, rotate it round again till I'm opposed, so it's at the bottom again, and then I do exactly the same for 2. So I do the inlet and the exhaust for 2. So it goes 1, 3, 4, then finally 2, and each of the steps you're rotating the crankshaft around. I've done the tolerances for all of the rocker arm gaps. I'm going to go back through and do a final check because it's important to make sure it's correct. So the first thing I'm going to do is make sure my cylinder 1's at TDC on here, then come in with a 0.15 on the inlet, and I'm just going to feel down here, just feel from even drag, and that's okay. I'll do all the inlets in one go, so then just come round, So that's at 180 degrees down, so it's BDC if you like. So that means we do 3, that's correct, and then spin it round again. There, and do 4. That's nice. And then we spin it round again. Okay. And then we do 2. And then I go to my set of gauges and I pick out the 0.2 in exactly the same way. I go to position 1. There we go. That's nice. Spin it round. So it's a BDC for cylinder 1, that is, but then we're over to 3. Just checking for consistency of the drag all the way through. Then spin it back over, and this will be for 4. That's it. Come in 4. Like that. And then finally back down here. So cylinder 1's at BDC. And then we're going to 2. And I like that. So then everything's sorted, all of my gaps are consistent throughout, and then we can just put the cam cover on. Big moment now, time to seal the engine up. I've got the Honda Bond HT again. Need to come in here and place a little bit in here. Push it with my finger afterwards. There we go. And then around here. 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 This is just to stop any oil leaking out the top here. There. Just have to use your finger. Just use my finger for this last one. That one. And just one more. In there. I'll just push it into the corner just to maintain a nice seal. Just make sure it's all consistent. Right. Trying to get a Honda Bond everywhere like I am. Right, good. And then big moment. What I've already done, I'm going to show you, is I've got this seal in here. This is just a rubber seal that stops the oil coming out the cam cover. Came with the kit. Having a new one is a good idea, because so there's annoying leaks that you'll end up losing oil and it will just be dribbling down your engine and causing a right mess. So this just pushes in here. One thing to note is that you have a little bit here, it's a slightly wider bit there, and that's just the locator to check you put it in the right way round. And so that's all in there, like so. And then obviously only go one way. You've got the spark plugs as well. They're just little ring gaskets. They're just pushed in there like that. And pretty much you're ready to put the cam cover on. And place it on, like so. This is powder coated green. We have a bunch of these. You can use the standard black washers. These are the different anodized ones. They have a rubber O-ring. And then all I'm doing is just pushing each one in place. Push them there like that. And then just put the individual nuts on there and continue.